So, what if I told you that self improvement was the wrong goal all along? In this explainer, we're diving deep into a really profound idea from the Inner Voice Correction course. And that idea is this: we're not here to just fix a broken version of ourselves. We're here for a complete system replacement, literally deleting the old prototype for good. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to walk through this incredible protocol, starting with the hidden program that's been running your life. Then we'll get into the mechanism for a total system override, and we'll finish up with your new mandate, which is to render an entirely new reality. All right, let's start with a really foundational question. And I mean, this one might just change how you see, well, everything you experience. Think about this for a second. The system we're exploring here suggests that for centuries, human experience hasn't been random at all. It's actually been governed by a hidden architecture, like an operating system that's running in the background of our lives, quietly dictating the limits of what we think is possible. And this hidden operating system, it has a name in this course, the Fractured Creation Rendering, or FCR for short. You can think of it as a systemic biospiritual program. The course says it's basically an electromagnetic reality that operates through the very language we use, binding our nervous systems to a cycle of limitation and decay. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. This system argues that our language isn't just neutral, it's a form of technology. And within this old program, the FCR, words actually act like contracts or even spells that program our nervous system. They create this kind of electromagnetic static that literally blocks us from receiving higher, clearer frequencies. And just look at how deep this programming supposedly goes. When you say you understand something, its root literally means to stand under it, which is a position of submission. The word grammar comes from grimoire, a book of spells. A mortgage is, believe it or not, a death pledge. According to this view, these are just words. They're subconscious contracts that keep us locked into a state of limitation. Okay, so if we're all running on this fractured program, how in the world do we get out of it? Well, the answer this system gives isn't just a patch or an update. No, it's a complete and total replacement. And this right here is a really key distinction. We are not talking about improving your old self. In this system, that old self is basically seen as corrupt data. So instead of trying to fix that corrupted file, the whole point is to hit new project and start totally fresh from a perfect, pristine template. This new project is what the course calls the New Creation Rendering, or NCR. It's framed as a complete jurisdictional transfer. And this isn't about trying to remember who you used to be. It's a living, creative act, an entirely new reality being rendered right here, right now. The contrast is pretty stark when you see it side by side. The FCR is that old Adamic prototype, a system of decay that's constantly trying to fix a corrupted file. But the NCR, that's the emergence of a new species. It's governed by the tree of life, a system based on a generative, creative flow from a perfect source. So the big question is, how does this transfer actually happen? How do you go from the old system of limitation, the FCR, to this new creation rendering? Well, the course lays out a very specific three-step protocol to make it happen. It's called the New Birth Awakening Protocol, or NBAP. Now, this protocol does use a biblical worldview to get its ideas across, but the course is clear. It frames this not as a religious belief, but as a technical mechanism. It's the legal entry point for accessing what it calls the frequencies of the kingdom of heaven, and it's all built on three foundational pillars. These three pillars are presented as the non-negotiable mechanism for this whole thing. First, there's a molecular reset, where the divine nature gets installed in you. Second, a biological cleansing, where the blood of Christ is seen as a kind of ultimate solvent that dissolves all the old static. And third, a power transmission, where your human vessel is saturated with a high voltage current from the Creator. It's a reset, a cleansing, and a power-up. So, what's the result of going through this protocol? Well, it's not just some change in your legal standing in the universe. It's a literal physiological transformation. This timeline really shows a dramatic shift. Humanity is said to have started as this translucent vessel, a capacitor of light. But that old FCR program introduced what's called a gray virus, which solidified that light into a dense, opaque clayman. The awakening protocol actually reverses this process. The breath of life ignites the vessel from within, and that clay form cracks open, revealing a body made of pure liquid light. Spirituality literally becomes physiology. So get this, your own biology is the interface for this new reality. Your pineal gland is described as the lampstand. It's the hardware. but it can't generate its own light. It needs the Holy Spirit, the flame, to actually light it. And when that happens, your eye becomes single, and your entire body just fills with the electromagnetic life of God. Once this transfiguration happens, your entire function changes. You actually move from being a victim of reality to a governor of it. Okay, a core principle here is something called the statute of reflection. The best way to think of it is like a movie projector. The light is the indwelling spirit. The film is your internal identity, your belief system, and the screen is your external reality. What this means is that reality isn't happening to you, it's being projected from you. And this is a really important point. This is not about forcing your will onto the world. That's an old program concept. In the new creation, it's about aligning the film of your heart with this new reality, achieving union, and then simply allowing the light to express and render the kingdom onto the screen of your life. So this entire system, this whole thing, is about a fundamental shift in your core identity. You are no longer a cellular victim who's subject to all the decay and static of the old program. You become a citizen of the kingdom, operating with sovereign responsibility from a completely new jurisdiction of life. And that's where we land. The old prototype is gone. Your enrollment in the new creation is sealed and complete. With the old program deleted and this new system installed, you are now sitting at the command center. So the question is no longer, how do I fix myself? The real question is, what will you render? Now, if these ideas really resonate with you, if you feel a pull to explore this protocol on a much deeper level, this is your starting point. Thank you so much for tuning in. By subscribing, you're not just following a channel, you're joining a whole community of kingdom renderers who are actively working to transfigure the atmosphere of this world. Abide in the light.